There are some mistakes in life that don't just cost you money, they cost you your peace, your friendships, your future, sometimes even your purpose. This is the story of a man who trusted the one person he believed would never hurt him, his best friend. But what happens when the person you trust the most becomes the reason you lose everything you worked for? Stay with me, because this is not just a story. This is a real-life lesson that many business owners learn the hard way. And before we begin, if you enjoy emotional real-life stories like this one, please subscribe to Teeza Real Life Stories for more powerful lessons inspired by real human experiences. Daniel had always believed that loyalty was more valuable than money. He grew up in a small apartment with his single mother who worked 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. From a young age, Daniel promised himself that one day he would become successful enough to give his family the life they never had. But Daniel didn't walk that journey alone. There was always someone beside him, Marcus. They met in secondary school, same neighborhood, same struggles, same dreams of escaping poverty. They were more than friends, they were brothers. Marcus was there when Daniel sold his first product online. Marcus was there when Daniel celebrated his first 1,000 pounds in profit. And Marcus was there the day Daniel finally opened his own logistics company after years of saving, working overtime, and sacrificing sleep. The business started small. Just Daniel, 1 delivery van, and a lot of determination. But slowly, things began to change. Clients increased, contracts grew bigger, money started coming in. Within 3 years, Daniel had expanded to 5 vans and hired 8 employees. For the first time in his life, he wasn't worrying about rent or overdue bills. He felt proud. But success comes with new responsibilities: invoices, payroll, tax filings, expenses, cash flow management. Daniel understood business operations. But finances? That wasn't his strength. And that's when he made the decision that would eventually cost him everything. One evening after closing the office, Daniel sat with Marcus talking about how stressful managing the business finances had become. "I can't keep up with everything," Daniel admitted. Marcus leaned forward. "You don't have to," he said. "Let me handle it for you." Daniel hesitated. Marcus wasn't a certified accountant, but he had studied finance for 2 years in college before dropping out. More importantly, he trusted him. After all, this was the same man who stood beside him when he had nothing. So Daniel did what many people in real life do. He mixed friendship with business. He gave Marcus access to the company bank accounts, full control over the financial records, expense tracking, payroll, even tax payments. "I trust you," Daniel said as he handed him the login details. And Marcus smiled. "You won't regret it." For the first few months, everything seemed fine. Employees were getting paid, suppliers had no complaints, the business was still growing. But slowly, small warning signs began to appear. Late payment notices from vendors, unpaid fuel invoices, unexpected overdraft fees from the bank. When Daniel asked Marcus about it, there was always an explanation. Just a delay from a client payment, tax adjustment, bank processing issue. Daniel wanted to believe him, so he did. Because sometimes, trust makes you ignore what logic is trying to show you. Then one morning, Daniel received a call from his bank. His business account had been frozen. He thought it was a mistake, until the manager asked him to come in immediately. Daniel sat across the desk as the bank officer placed a printed statement in front of him. His heart dropped. Thousands of pounds had been transferred to unfamiliar accounts over several months. Repeated withdrawals, unexplained transactions, missing tax payments that were never submitted to the government, payroll money that had been moved and never returned. Daniel's hands began to shake. "Who manages your finances?" the officer asked. And in that moment, Daniel realized he had no idea what was really happening inside his own business. Marcus had been siphoning money from the company for almost a year. Small amounts at first, then larger ones, using the business account to fund his lifestyle, luxury gadgets, weekend trips, car payments, personal debts, all while telling Daniel everything was under control. By the time Daniel discovered the truth, over £180,000 was gone. The company owed unpaid taxes, suppliers demanded payments, employees could no longer receive salaries. Within weeks, operations stopped, contracts were canceled, vehicles were repossessed, and the business Daniel spent years building was bankrupt. Marcus stopped answering calls. Messages were ignored. Eventually, he disappeared. No apology, no explanation, or just silence. Daniel didn't just lose money, he lost his business. His employees lost their jobs, his reputation was damaged, and worst of all, he lost someone he once called a brother. Many people believe that trust is enough in business, but real life teaches us a different lesson. Never give full financial control to anyone without accountability. Friendship does not replace professional oversight. Always review your accounts, separate duties, hire certified professionals, require regular audits. Because in business, blind trust can become financial suicide. Daniel is still rebuilding his life today. But if there is one thing he tells every new entrepreneur he meets, it is this: trust your friends with your secrets, but never with your finances. If this story taught you something, please subscribe to Teeza Real Life Stories for more emotional real-life stories that could protect you from making the same mistakes others have already made. Because sometimes, learning from someone else's loss can save your future.